DorkLair.
Welcome to another DorkLair action figure review. Today I'm taking a look at the Mezco 112 Collective Aquaman. And I wasn't terribly interested in this figure up until I picked up the Green Lantern figure. And that figure was so incredible that I decided I wanted to try to build a little bit of a Justice League collection. And Wonder Woman came around, and man, I just really started to want this figure, and I am super pumped because this thing came out great. This is a solid figure. I don't know that it's like the flashiest or the craziest or the wildest Mezco figure. It's just a solid effort with good articulation, an awesome suit, really cool accessories, a solid release. And by the way, this pose is ripped off just directly from the Instagram page of Scott Blind, so give him a follow because I saw a picture that he did of this. It's an incredible photo, and this is not doing it justice, but I thought that it was such a cool pose that I tried to attempt a similar pose, and thank you, Scott Blind, for giving me the idea for this awesome pose. So anyway, let's get into this review. Okay, so first up is the packaging, just quality packaging from Mezco, as always. There's a little bit of a glossiness to the logo in the front, and then you have a green side with the same Aquaman logo over there, and then some pictures of the figure on the back and some glam shots of it posed up. So yeah, this is a great packaging. You know, the Mezco boxes are rather large, but they do a nice quality job. You know, it's a window box, and it's just a really nice presentation. So great job on the box, Mezco. So I think my favorite aspect of this figure is probably these head sculpts. Just kind of looking at that hair, it's really nice what they've done. It's painted very well, and then kind of like bringing it down to the face, and it's just a really nice, very detailed head sculpt. Looks like Aquaman to me. I'm not a huge Aquaman fan, so I can't exactly say what this is from, but you know, it's a great look. If you know like kind of specifically which comic book look this is, let me know in the comments below. I did a little looking around, and it kind of seems like the early issues of Aquaman and the Rebirth lineup was kind of this look where you have sort of like this thing around his collar here, and then this short-haired look. But later on, I think he gets a beard and long hair in that one. But yeah, this is a pretty great-looking head sculpt. Eyes are painted really well. Mezco does a really good job of bringing a realism to their figures, even though they're sort of a comic book thing. His neck is painted as well. So getting into the suit, I used to have the Captain America that had scales that kind of looked like this, but this is very different. This feels more like, say, your Batman Sovereign Knight or something, where you had all those little tiny pieces applied on top, and it doesn't feel as prone to maybe like the flaking that one had with that Captain America. So I do like it. It's got a little shine to it, gives it that sort of aquatic look. Looks excellent. It's a different material down into the pants. This one's more of like, so this is like fabric with tons of little shiny pieces on top, and then this is like shiny material with more like a textured kind of thing over the top of the shiny fabric or whatever. So pretty neat thing going on here with the fabrics. It just looks great. And then the belt kind of breaks it up between them. And you have the belt that's kind of sculpted in the gold, the same way that the collar is sculpted in the gold. And then you have the boots and the gloves that are a very shiny kind of green. And they look great as well, nicely sculpted in there. And the boots. But I mean, this is just like an iconic look for Aquaman, and it just kind of fits perfectly. It's nothing crazy or wild, or to me, it's just kind of your basic Aquaman, but they just did such a great job of executing the look of the figure. Just look at that hair sculpt right there. So yeah, great looking figure. The fabric is awesome. It moves well. Over time, who knows what's going to happen to it, but yeah, it's just a solid look to the character. Next up, let's see how Aquaman stands to some others. So let's bring in the Justice League to start with. So first up, we have Batman next to Aquaman, and then bring in Wonder Woman. So this is the classic Wonder Woman. I know that they got another one that's going to be coming pretty soon. And then we have the Green Lantern figure, which a phenomenal figure. I did review that one. I don't have Superman. I kind of regret selling that one. I hope they do another one because I didn't love that one terribly. So I'm just going to kind of, for a stand-in, I have this multiverse Superman from The Dark Knight Returns. So that's kind of my current setup for my Justice League here as far as the figures I have. I don't have Green Arrow, I don't have Flash, and yeah, so this is my current Justice League. And then next up, we're going to put Aquaman next to Aquaman from the movie, from Justice League movie. And looks pretty good. I think they're about the same height. The Justice League Aquaman is an underrated figure. It might not be terribly articulated, but the thing looks awesome. This is a great looking figure. And I'm not even that big a fan of the Justice League movie. Bring a couple other lines. Here's an Iron Man from Marvel Legends. And then here's the new Skeletor from Super 7 in their Classics line. So he's a little bit bigger. The Classics are a little bigger. I mean, the He-Man is huge. Look at the size of He-Man. Dude's massive. And just a couple more. Here is a Mythic Legions figure. Here is a movie realization figure. And here is an Articulated Icons Lazy Custom Storm Shadow. For accessories, he comes with this shoulder armor right here. So let me show you how that works. So this goes up over his shoulder. You got to pop the head off to get it on there, but otherwise very simple to get that on. And shoulder armor looks fantastic on him. And then so the shoulder armor, and then in addition to that, to arm him up even more, he's got his crown. That is a magnetic piece that goes right onto his face, basically. So there's some sort of magnet going on under his head. So looks pretty awesome, very regal. He's got his trident spear right here. Again, the sculpt work is amazing. There's no real additional paint on there, but it's a very nicely sculpted piece. All these gold pieces, just the details are awesome on them. Just there's no extra paint, that's all. And then there's a clip on the back where you can clip his spear on the back there as well. He's got an action screaming head sculpt here. And again, the sculpt is incredible. His hair is a little crazier. It's almost like he's falling through water or like sort of diving through water and screaming with this head sculpt. And then he's got that one that's about in between, which is sort of a sneering kind of a head sculpt right here. Mouth a little bit open. But again, a great head sculpt. I think I prefer the original first head sculpt in terms of just generally having it on him. But for action poses, definitely this one. It's really nice to have a real intense head sculpt with a figure for when you have an intense pose for your display. He comes with fists that are already on him. In addition to the fists, he's got these gesturing hands for kind of like reaching out, grabbing, grasping. 2 swimming hands, just sort of flat swimming type hands. And then he's got his 2 hands for gripping his spear. For articulation, Aquaman has a ton of great movement, and starting up with the head, you can kind of tilt his head that far with the articulation at the base and at the top of the neck, and then you can tilt him down this much. Side to side, and just a lot of great movement. You can spin it all the way around. When you're kind of posing him, you're going to want to make sure you grab the neck a little bit so that when you turn him, the neck kind of turns too, because otherwise it's just the head really turning. You want to pay attention a little bit to where that Adam's apple is in the direction of his neck. And then the arms can swing up this far and then back down, and they can rotate all the way up. And the elbows are double jointed. And he's a pretty big guy. He's on that bigger body, so he's not going to do what Spider-Man can do, but he can move his arms pretty well up with that double jointed elbow there. There is a swivel at the top of the bicep right there, and then there's no swivel at the forearm or anything like that, but then the wrist is on that kind of hinge and swivel. So a lot of great motion in the wrist. He has good articulation up in the upper torso. He can crunch forward this much and then back quite a bit too. So there's good motion, but my thing is when he swivels side to side, it's a little loose. My joint's loose. So because of the fabric, it wants to spring back. So I have to sort of be very delicate with it and get it to that spot and kind of jam it in there if I want him turning a little bit at the top. He does have a little bit of movement in the waist, but it doesn't It doesn't do a lot, but it can crunch pretty well. It can crunch back that far and that forward. So when you combine them, you get that much movement in the waist there. He can kick his leg forward about this far, and then he's got a double jointed knee, so he can swing it back this much, and then he can swing his leg back a tiny bit, not a ton. There is a swivel at the top of the thigh, and then he can come out in the splits quite far. No boot cut, and then the ankle can point down a good amount. This is nice. I mean, I wish it could go a little bit more, but it's better than a lot of the other figures, and this is good for a figure that swims or essentially flies underwater, because when you want him swimming, you want his feet kind of pointed down a little bit at least. I wish it could go more, but at least there's some compared to other figures. You can rock his ankles a little bit for those wide stances, and then they can spin around as well. So yeah, I'm incredibly happy with the way this figure turned out. There's a lot of great options. 3 head sculpts, some armor pieces that you can swap on and off, and just quality figure, well made, awesome accessories. Well done, Mezco. Looking forward to your next Justice League edition. I'm hoping you come back to that Superman and make us a new one, because I'm really in need of one for my Justice League. Anyway, thanks for watching my video. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at the DorkLair. And until next time, may the force be with you.